Hey folks, we're discussing Generation 6 heroes, and given their growing complexity, I'm breaking this up into 3 videos in accordance with your feedback. This video is on Yang, and you can see the videos for Triton and Sophia in the same Hero Reviews playlist linked below in the description. Again, special thanks to Frack of the Frackinator website for once again doing an insane amount of testing of all of these crazy under-the-hood mechanics that Kingshot is throwing at us. I gotta say, Yang is certainly an interesting character design choice for a developer that desperately wants to distance their game from whiteout survival, but here we are. Like all Generation 6 heroes to the Generation 5 counterparts, Yang has a 20% increase in each combat stat from generation to generation, as well as a roughly 22% increase to expedition stats. This is roughly the same percentage increase we saw going from Generation 4 to Generation 5, and less than the percentage increase we saw going from Generation 3 to Generation 4. However, due to the compounding effect of all of these increases, Generation 6 still brings the heroes with the largest increase in stats in absolute terms to the game. And this is true for both Conquest and Expedition modes. And when it comes to Conquest mode, she's going to put that highest in the game base attack value to good use with a wide variety of damage dealing abilities. In particular, her signature ability throws her snowboard/boomerang at enemies in the back row, damaging anything in its path on both the journey there and the return. This means it can do double that stated 140% damage to the right target that's in the right position. And I found this move to be fairly devastating to the enemy, particularly all the little escort troops on the front line, and it's quite a joy to watch it mow everything down. Now, Yang's second ability description is a bit vague, but it essentially gives her a second auto attack 35% of the time. You won't see a separate character animation for it, only a second little blue bolt coming from her weapon. An extra normal attack, even at a somewhat low percentage of occurrence, is still beneficial given that extremely high base attack stat. And also as an archer, you'll likely have been prioritizing her helmet and boots hero gear for bear hunt anyway, which will further boost her damage dealing capacity for those additional attacks. And her third ability gives her a 15% critical hit rate when dealing damage. Now, the game never actually describes what this means, but my back and forth with support says that a critical hit in this context is actually a fatal blow that instantly defeats the enemy. They also later clarified after my follow-up that this only works on the non-hero escort troop. I know Kingshot support doesn't always have the best track record when answering these sorts of questions, but if true, this ability synergizes exceptionally well with that first ability and that sweeping arc of damage that it does across the stage, even if it wasn't strong enough to one-shot the escort. Now, her widget conquest ability, Quick Draw, is an additional attack. The description says it's 5 shots, but it also says enemies singular. It doesn't seem like it always deals damage to every single enemy that it hits when the animation plays out, so I reached out to Kingshot support just to make sure it was working as intended, and they assured me that it does indeed target multiple enemies and that they all take damage. I also thought it was kind of funny that they were encouraging me to test out the heroes to gain more gameplay experience. If only you knew, employee EN222. If only you knew. Either way, I also clarified what that knockdown effect means. After another escalation, support came back saying it was simply another instant defeat outcome. So essentially, it's the same thing as a critical hit. Now again, given Yang's high base attack, she might already be one-shotting a lot of these little escort troops in Arena anyway during Generation 6. But this 100% chance of instant defeat should give her more longevity into future generations. So on the whole, I think Yang's going to be a great addition to any Arena team. She's got at least one amazing area of effect move that makes use of the highest attack in the game. And she also has a bunch of other moves that, on their own, are okay damage-wise. But with that critical hit chance, knockdown chance, whatever you want to call it, it provides a nice synergy with her hitting so many targets. And I suspect this will keep her relevant in top Arena teams for a while as a result. Okay, now let's talk about Expedition. But first, a special thanks to my Sloth Squad channel members for their continued support that helps make my work possible. Check out the links below for how to sign up, as well as how you can use your in-game spend to support my channel. For Yang's Expedition skills, I'm actually going to start this conversation with her widget. She is now our third archer hero with a 15% offensive lethality widget after Generation 4's Rosa and Generation 2's Marlin. So when we think of her role, this is basically the developers telling us that we should be considering bear hunt especially, as well as offensive PvP rallies as the standard to judge her. And for the traditional skills, we start with a pretty complex joiner hero ability. Basically, every 4 turns in battle, all of your troop types will deal an additional 100% damage against their targeted enemy for that turn. From what we can tell in testing, this does not seem to be an actual extra attack that would advance attack counters for other abilities. It appears like it is actually a simple damage up skill code. Now, over the long run, a 100% improvement every 4 turns converges on a 25% improvement in damage, which is the usual benchmark for judging an ability. But it is less than ideal that it is not active for the first few turns of battle where most of the damage is usually being dealt. That said, the predictability of the turn timing as opposed to random chance can allow it to combo with some other hero abilities nicely. Now, in my Generation 5 Heroes review, linked below in the description, I mentioned that this ability could be a potential one to synergize with Thrud's third skill. However, I no longer believe this to be the case. We ran some bear hunt tests with tier 6 non-TG troops to eliminate as much RNG impact as we possibly could, and we could not find a solution space that had Yang's skill 1 and Thrud's skill 3 activating on the same turn. We did, however, find many potential solutions for our observed damage of them activating on different turns. So our working hypothesis is that these 4-turn counters somehow work differently between these two heroes, possibly with Yang's working on turn 4 exactly, and Thrud's working starting on the 5th turn of combat. However, despite extensive testing, we just could not get enough information to draw a final conclusion on that. In any case, since it is in the Priority Expedition skill slot, it could provide some long-term value for her as a joiner hero for future generation heroes that have a 4th turn active ability, but only time will tell how they may interact. Now, Yang's second ability is a 40% chance of archers dealing an extra 100% damage. Given the prevalence of high archer formations, particularly in important events like Bear Hunt, as well as the elevated base attack factor for archer troops versus other troop types, a long-term average 40% increase in archer damage is actually very valuable. Depending on the formation you're using, this could be more valuable than a 25% increase to all troop types, which again is our benchmark. Now, despite the upgrade preview text saying extra damage up versus damage up and additional strike in the first skill, these two abilities share the same code, and we've observed their bonus stacks additively as a result. And then we get to Ambush. Not to be confused with the similarly named Cavalry ability, it gives us a 40% chance for another 50% increase in damage, and this time to all troop types. The expected value of this math is a 20% increase to total damage, which is a bit below what we would look at for our benchmark. However, despite being yet another damage up ability, this one appears to share a separate skill code from skills 1 and 2 under the hood, since it seems to stack multiplicatively with them. So this is a bit of a mitigating factor. So when we take everything in totality, we still see her outperforming and acting as a meaningful upgrade to Rosa. Of course, for you 60-40 purists watching, you wouldn't want to use her for that sort of formation, since her archer-specific stats and abilities really don't help. You would still be better off with old favorites like Saul, where the lower stats don't really matter. So what does this all mean for potentially investing in her? Well, I actually think Yang is the standout hero from this generation in terms of immediate return on investment value. I personally got a 25 to 30% increase on my Bear Hunt score when I subbed out Rosa for her, and now that we know the Generation 7 Archer hero on the wheel is a defensive widget hero, her place in Bear Hunt will be secure through all of Generation 7 as well. So this will give you time to get a meaningful return of Forge Hammers with her before her day in the sun ends. So if you're free to play and are sitting on a bunch of orange shards coming into Generation 6, then drop them on her early so you get at least all of Generation 6 and 7 to take advantage of her. And if you are a spender, then do it so your entire alliance of bear joiners thanks you. You'll also see her improve your performance in offensive PvP rallies, assuming you use a meaningful amount of archers in your formation. Also, expect to see a step up in Conquest and Arena performance during Generation 6 because of her. I never recommend picking up a hero solely for Arena, but you'll see her all over the top teams, and for good reason. I also think she will have a longer staying power into the next generation of top teams than a hero like Triton. In any case, I hope the Yang hero review has been helpful to you. Be sure to check out the rest of the Hero Reviews playlist for other heroes in this generation, plus other generations of heroes. And be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to stay up to date with the latest hero analysis and other guides as I publish them. Thanks again for watching, and happy gaming out there.